couple of news items from this week to clean up, so we make sure we cover everything this year. We learned late last week that Majesco has exited the games business.
I saw the same joke repeatedly, but it was funny every time, which was I didn't know they were still in the games business.
Yeah, it's people still play this game.
Did you know THQ is still in the games business?
Well, THQ Nordic.
Didn't they come back or something?
There's a company called THQ.
Yeah, they came back.
Yeah,
so there was there was that neat piece on Polygon where the guy wrote about the oven mitt. The Cooking Mama oven mitt and how that was his best piece of game swag he'd ever gotten.
That's really cool.
It was really a funny article.
So Majesco's been around since 1985, I believe.
Yeah, I remember Majesco from the 80s
But,
for sure.
you know, Jared and I were looking.
Yeah,
we
it's sad.
couldn't find evidence of games that they published until the late 90s for the Game Boy
really?
Advance. So I don't know what they were doing all that time.
Well,
Were they
they
called
were-
something else?
You know, they were shovelware, for a long time. Kids games, and some of them were
I
okay.
thought Majesco
Shovelware is maybe
made
a little
NES
mean.
games.
So they were
They
didn't-
Majesco
I
Sales
can't find evidence.
Incorporated, and we did some digging and couldn't find all that stuff. We got a phone number, and we really just
Yeah, I
ought to
can't
call
think
them
of
and
it off the top of
ask
my head.
them. I think that's the plan. Is
I don't
to
think
figure
anyone
out.
there would know.
So it's
Dear sir, Matt, which NES games did you put out?
You'll see their names attached to SNES games, but those are all ports they did for like GBA or GBC later
Yeah.
on.
What if their phone number is like, press 1 if you would like to talk about the Nintendo Entertainment System. Press 2 if you'd like to talk the Sega Master System.
A real interesting bit of video game trivia is that in 1998, Majesco released the Sega Genesis 3.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
So they actually released a piece of hardware for
a
Sega.
smaller Sega.
Yeah, the small.
Yeah,
one.
it's a small
I remember that
Genesis.
one. I
Yeah.
had the number 3 on.
Yeah, they produced their own Genesis. They produced their own Game Gear too.
Interesting,
Later
yeah.
on.
And we talked about that on a previous scoop, how Brazil has all those versions of Sega hardware.
That was one of
yeah.
the facts that
Yeah,
Jared made up.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of those
That
facts.
episode.
No, Brazil has such cool software.
Later on, Majesco would release Blood Rain and Blood Rain 2.
RAYNE.
Yeah. They actually published Psychonauts.
Yep, they
They're the
did publish
publisher of
that.
Psychonauts. And then the Wii years,
That's cool.
the Wii and DS
What a
years
great game.
were the real boon years for
Did they do Elf Bowling?
a sort of a C tier publisher like Majesco because they had the Cookie Mama games.
Yeah.
And then all the other Mama games. There was Gardening Mama, there was
Yeah.
Babysitting Mama. They just
Yeah.
flooded the Wii and the DS.
Flamethrower
with
Mama.
Those games. Flamethrower Mama.
You have
Yeah.
me thinking about the best piece of video game swag now.
Huh?
I don't
Gotta beat the
take
oven
any
mitt.
of it. I don't keep any of it. I don't want any of that stuff in my house, really.
I have a Psychonauts sphere that does the spark things. It's like a Van de Graaff generator type thing.
Oh, that's pretty good.
You know what that is where you touch, remember
Yeah.
the 80s, you touch a thing and it sparks out? It's like a Psychonauts one of those.
I have a bunch of gold medal USS Enterprises on stands.
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
we gave those
everybody
all to
gave
you.
you those when they came in. That
Yeah,
was
I'm
great.
trying to collect enough of them that one day I can reenact the
Yeah.
scene from First Contact where I'm going to be just like, no, and smash them all. And the lady can be like,
I thought you were
going to
say the scene where all the enterprises from
Yeah.
the different
And
timelines come
Riker's
in.
there
This
already.
Riker with the scraggly
Oh,
beard.
he's
He's
like, "No, the Borg are still
everything's
here."
terrible in my universe.
No, I'm talking about the part where Picard gets angry and like smashes them all.
Yeah, yeah.
And she's like, you broke your little ships. And
Yeah.
then he's like, oh, and he realizes.
That movie's terrible.
I want to.
I like that
What are
movie.
you going to say?
Well, it was a Battlestar Galactica thing.
Actually, I like First
So
Contact. Okay.
you know in Battlestar Galactica where
Jesus.
Edward James Olmos gets so worked up and so enraged that the model ship he's been working on for years and years on the show tosses it on the floor, he smashes it because he's
Yeah.
so worked up. That model ship was a rental. Like they didn't own it; they were renting it from some prop company. And Edward James Olmos improvised him smashing it and being all worked up. And it was either insured or not insured. That part of the story I don't remember, but they had to pay for, it wasn't like a planned thing. He just smashed up some prop company's ship.
And
That's great.
Edward James almost actually went bankrupt from that and ended up being homeless, and he lives on the street.
He's having to do those library read posters to make ends meet.